direct the show.
Did you know that in 2017, 8,759 cases of human trafficking were reported? That's a 13% increase in cases from the year before. I would also like to point out that that is the number of cases reported. We must take into consideration that there are many, many more cases that go unreported every year. In today's speech, we'll be discussing the importance of prevention and awareness in terms of human trafficking and how we can help someone who is in danger. The main points we'll be discussing are human trafficking in relation to how it is accessed and used, human trafficking, and how it is happening in our own neighborhoods, and ways to increase our prevention methods. So what is human trafficking and how did it begin? According to Homeland Security, human trafficking is modern-day slavery and involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Author Joe Dwinell wrote, "Sex trafficking statistics tell the story of a brutal underground economy thriving online, in hotels, in brothels, and on city streets." Dwinell also wrote, according to the International Labor Organization, around the world, 4.5 million people live in forced sexual exploitation. Increased popularity of the internet has made human trafficking methods easier to access for almost anyone. Some people believe that shutting down the websites most commonly used for human trafficking will put an end to it altogether. But in reality, perpetrators will find other methods to get what they want. Sarah Mendelson, an opinion contributor, stated that we need, however, to look beyond governments, lawyers, and law enforcement to radically grow and shift how this movement operates. As consumers and citizens, we need to increase our knowledge and change our attitudes and behaviors. Does human trafficking really happen around us? Jan Edwards, the CEO of Paving the Way, an organization that helps victims, stated that what people need to know is it's happening in every single zip code and every single neighborhood. Jan Edwards also stated that you've got embarrassment, shame, and fear on the victim side, and then you've got guilt, manipulation, and coercion, and threats on the perpetrator's side. I don't want any child, to suffer from that. When looking at human trafficking as a whole, it is important to know that it can and does happen everywhere, no matter what state you live in. It is also important to have the attitude that someone could be sold into human trafficking just down the street from your own house. We as citizens of the United States need to realize that these dangers are a real issue. Jim Palmer, the president of the Orange County Rescue Mission, stated that the initial challenge in helping people who have been affected by human trafficking is identifying these individuals. The social side of the issue is very complicated. Many victims feel confused, lost, and sometimes embarrassed about their situation. We are actively working with many nonprofit and local law enforcement agencies to find those that can benefit from our extensive services. It is encouraging to see the efforts that Orange County is putting in place to help victims. Next, we will take a look at the prevention methods we have. Educating and understanding the signs of human trafficking are some of the most important things you can do to help prevent this crime. The Homeland Security stated that the trauma caused by the traffickers can be so great that many may not identify themselves as victims or ask for help, even in highly public settings. It is our responsibility as humans to help these victims return to safety. Homeland Security also says that human trafficking is a hidden crime, as victims rarely come forward to seek help because of language barriers, fear of the traffickers, and/or fear of law enforcement. Pam Strickland, founder of Eastern North Carolina Stop Human Trafficking Now, enforced at the end of one of her presentations that if you see someone who is being exploited and taken advantage of, it's your business to make a call and you can save a life. In conclusion, today we discussed and defined human trafficking and how victims are sold. We also talked about how human trafficking really does happen in our own neighborhoods, despite what we think about where we live. Lastly, we discussed the different ways that we can help educate ourselves on the tips of prevention methods. The most important thing to take away from this speech is to make sure that you yourself know how to identify a victim and you also know the steps to take to help them.